My dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer when I was 10, so I was in fifth grade. And I always say, like, his diagnosis was like a huge shock for my family because he was really healthy, he was really active. My dad loved being outside, he loved playing soccer. Like, he had never smoked a day in his life, he didn't have any like huge pre existing conditions. And so, he got diagnosed around like a winter. I think it was at Christmas time. And I think like trying to remember all of that is like this weird, like it all feels like it comes in blurs, because I was so young at the time. But he was in and out of hospitals in Toronto. Like, I would say, like, I know every single hospital because he had either been to one for an appointment or he had been in and out of one for nearly 3 years. So when he was originally diagnosed, they had said that he would only have like a few months to live, and my dad made it well past that. I always try to like remember him as like his life was more than cancer, and he was so much more than his illness. Like, he was an engineer, and he was an amazing dad to me and my siblings, and he was such a good friend, and he had like lived such an extraordinary life. So I think for me, I try to remember him less as the cancer and more of like who he was as a person. But yeah, he was in and out of hospitals for almost 3 years, and his condition like deteriorated pretty quickly. But I always say, like, he was so like slowly and yet so quickly taken from us, because like anyone who's experienced like a cancer diagnosis in the family, they know that it just comes in waves and you never know what's going to happen. Even if you get good news, it's not permanent, nothing. And it's such like a scary and frustrating experience because so much of it is out of your control. And I didn't really understand that my dad was really sick until the last few weeks of his life when he was in palliative care at a public rehab center in Toronto. Because as the youngest, I wasn't really allowed to be a part of conversations that my siblings and my mom had with the doctors or the healthcare team. I think everyone was really afraid to approach like this young child about the fact that her dad was dying. So I actually didn't know that he was dying and that he was getting really sick. And so for me, when he died, I always say it was really sudden, even though he was sick for so long and the treatments weren't working and all the signs were showing that he was going to die. No one had explained that to me. And so when he died, it was this just huge shock and this huge devastation, and something that I really struggled for, I think, a long time.